Kell Brook has called out Terence Crawford and Keith Thurman. He says he is light and ready. With regards to what division those fights could potentially be in, Brook said, quote, if it's Crawford, he'll be defending his title, so it will be 147. Thurman, it could be a catchweight, end quote. Now, I did another video where I talked about Kell Brook and Keith Thurman. If they can't get the world title shots that they want, then the natural fight to make is them against each other. A crossroads fight. And I think it will be a fantastic fight. Keith Thurman has said that he's willing to travel to the UK to fight Kell Brook. Now, obviously, we need to find out about what kind of restrictions are going to exist. Maybe it will be more viable to do it somewhere in the States or maybe in a neutral country. We'll see. But in terms of the fans, well, actually, yeah, again, it all depends on the restrictions because they're talking about maybe by November, December, being able to have 2,000 people in the arena, but that's not really going to bring much of a gate, is it? So, yeah, all that aside, the fight itself, I think, is one that makes sense. Keith Thurman versus Kell Brook. They've been talking about it for years. You know, when Keith Thurman was a world champion, when Kell Brook was a world champion, there was a little back and forth between them. But now seems like the perfect time because they're in a similar position. So I'm going to quote Kell Brook a little bit more here. He said, I'm staying busy and ready. I'm going to put myself in the best position for when things come back to normal. I'm very keen on fighting Crawford. I think Keith Thurman has spouted that he would love the British pound. Pause. He'd like the fight. So I'm keeping myself active in Fuerteventura with Josh Taylor and Billy Joe. They're a good bunch of lads out here. We're working hard. He goes on to say, I'm very light. I don't like to say what weight I am, but I'm very light, especially for me having no date, end quote. So those are the words of, oh, hang on, a little bit more here. He says, if it's Crawford, oh, yeah, it talked about the weight, end quote. So anyway, that's Kell Brook talking about how trim and ready he is right now. And that's good to see because he was always a guy who used to blow up in weight. But surely now he knows it's last chance saloon. Surely now he knows that even though we're in a bizarre situation with regards to the world economy, it's in situations like this where it is imperative that you maintain your discipline because there's an opportunity here. Other fighters are not maintaining their discipline because they've got no fight date and they don't know when boxing is going to resume. So there's a lot of fighters out there who are going off the rails or letting themselves go. There's an opportunity to be one of the fighters who isn't doing that. And therefore, if you manage to get one of them in the ring, they could be weight drained. They could be underprepared. I mean, we've seen Billy Joe in a recent interview say that basically he walked away from the Canelo fight because he's only going to have about, 7 weeks or 6 weeks to train. See, that's an example of somebody who don't stay ready. He clearly has let himself go here or there if he's saying he needs more than that. Whereas with Kell Brook, hopefully he's on it like a car bonnet. He realizes this is an opportunity because a lot of other guys are not going to be where they should be at by way of their weight and fitness. So, yeah, it's good to see Kell Brook staying disciplined. And as I've said in another video, I'd love to see him fight Keith Thurman. But I'd also like the Terence Crawford fight because, again, Terence Crawford has struggled to find name opponents at 147. And I'm surprised that the Kell Brook fight hasn't happened before now, to be honest. I'm not sure why Bob Arum and Terence Crawford went off that fight because they were talking about, having a fight a while ago. I want to say a year ago or so. And they were kind of on and off about it. I'm not sure why. Because it's a fight that makes sense. If Terence Crawford can go in there and dispatch of Kell Brook in better fashion than Errol Spence did, then that's a feather in Terence Crawford's cap. Yeah, you could say that Kell Brook's not the same, and the critics are always going to say something. But at the same time, they were saying that about Errol Spence, right? They were saying, Kell Brook was injured in the Golovkin fight and he's weight drained coming back down from middleweight and blah, blah, blah. They're always going to make excuses. At the end of the day, on the resume, it would look good for Terence Crawford, particularly if he didn't struggle with Kell Brook, because Errol Spence, all the credit in the world to him, and he was fighting away from home, but he was finding it tough in there against Kell Brook. And he battled through as a very strong-minded individual, Errol Spence. But he was finding it tough in them early rounds against Kell Brook. He battled through and he eventually managed to get the stoppage. If Terence Crawford could just go in there and dominate Kell Brook, beat him convincingly and not have the same issues that Errol Spence had, again, that's a feather in his cap. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Kell Brook calling everybody out, Terence Crawford and Keith Thurman in particular. How do you think he would fare against either man, and which fight would you prefer to see? Let me know, people. It's happening. I'm out. I've come down to the seafront here on the south coast, Brighton, with my missus. Where am I? I'm here at Southend again. All right, so I'm down here at Eastbourne. I've visited several British seaside towns this year, and I'm looking to visit as many more as I can. I love being by the sea. I like going to these places and mingling with the locals, feeling the sun on my face, breathing in that nice, fresh sea air. I've been to Southend several times, been to Eastbourne, been to Brighton, but my favorite so far has been Bournemouth. Absolutely beautiful down there, and the nicest beach I've seen in the UK personally myself, because I'm somebody who loves beach holidays and living in tropical countries and all that kind of stuff. The UK, there's many great things about this country, but it doesn't have the reputation as having the most amazing beaches in the world, right? I think that's fair to say. But Bournemouth, to me, was a real, they got big, long, however long it is, 7-mile beach. As you can see, the images on screen right now from my most recent trip to Bournemouth. I've been, as I say, several times now, been to all types of different seaside towns this year so far. Give me some suggestions in the comments below if you know any seaside towns that can compete with Bournemouth, just in terms of how nice the beach is, the sand, the environment. Let me know where you think I should go next, because I'm all about these road trips. I love me a good road trip, especially if there's a nice beach on the other end. So yeah, just a little random one. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.